Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome one and all to this week's Ponderous Wednesday. Now for those of you who are new to the channel or don't know, Ponderous Wednesdays is my forum for putting an interesting or thought-provoking topic out there and having a good old ramble and natter about it to stimulate some interesting discussion down in the comment section. And this week we're going to be talking about a subject which is near and dear to my heart, hand-poured silver. And the overarching theme and topic for this video is hand-poured silver something that you can invest in? Is it a good investment to buy? And I want to present today both sides of the argument, give you some of my own thoughts and opinions about why I think hand-poured silver is a good investment and also why it might be a bad investment. Now, of course, the word investment is key here. There are lots of different things that you can do with hand-poured silver. You can collect it, you can enjoy it, you can buy it as a way to support your favourite YouTubers like myself, and if you so wish to do that, then please head on over to backyardbullion.com. A lot of what I have here on the table is available over there. Or you can just generally love what you buy, and I think that's a really important thing to start with. Also, before I get into everything, I just want to put my usual disclaimer out there. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an investment guru, I just like to talk about shiny things basically here on YouTube. So what I'm presenting today is not financial advice. I'd highly recommend that if you're interested in investing in hand-poured silver, that you do as much research as possible. With all of those disclaimers out the way, is it a good buy? Is it something that you can invest in? And I think the overarching thing here is going to be about price, about premiums. And you need to recognize that hand-poured silver is going to have a premium. And that is pretty much what hand-poured silver is all about. It's about whether or not it can hold and or grow the premium that you've paid for it over time. Now, there are so many different bits of hand-poured silver, styles of hand-poured silver, shapes, weights, sizes, you know, there's so many different things out there. It could be 3D art bars like I've got here that I've antiqued and, you know, treated to make them look very different. They could be hallmarked like I have for all of my pieces. They could be just regular bullion bars. There are so many different things out there, and depending on what it is, it's going to have a different level of premium to it. Obviously, the larger the pieces, perhaps the smaller the premium is going to be over the long run. But the smaller, more intricate pieces, perhaps the sandcast intricate pieces that we see here on the YouTube community from the likes of Silver to Burn and many others, you know, those take a lot of work and energy to create. And you know, those type of things really do end up having a big premium on them. So hand-poured silver is not cheap, and there are many reasons for that. Obviously, time is going to be the key thing here. As I've said, people taking the time to make something. You know, for example, these antiqued Celtic ripple rounds, they take an absolute age for me to antique up and then polish. So you know, it's one of those things which is always going to take a bit of time, and because of that, it's going to have a higher premium. But does the high premium stop it from being a good investment? Well, there are many different factors that go into whether or not something's premium is going to be worth paying. And I think one of the things to talk about here is branding. Now, of course, branding is so important, and if you're a new brand new hand-poured silver producer, perhaps you've been inspired by the humble likes of myself or other people, like I was inspired a couple of years ago, and we've seen a huge uptrend in the number of people producing their own hand-poured silver throughout the last even 2 years that I've been on YouTube, but before that as well. And you know, branding is really important. So if you're out there and you're looking to specifically invest in hand-poured silver, perhaps you should be considering some of those bigger brands, and that's not even including myself. I'm nowhere near a big brand. You know, I like to think that my own unique style and sort of basically the way that my bars look is, you know, I want to make them look as good as possible, because of course my bars are not necessarily the cheapest bars out there, simply because we've got to pay a lot more for our silver over here in the UK because of the wondrous taxes that are in the EU and UK. And of course then I have to have all of my pieces hallmarked as well, to have them assay tested and hallmarked. So you know, there are so many different factors there. But even with my humble manufacturing that I've got going on, I am nowhere near a big brand whatsoever. You know, if you are interested in buying big branded you know, poured silver bars, then you need to look at YPS, MK Bars, all of these huge companies which have this massive following throughout the world. And you know, if you go into a coin shop or a metal shop in Los Angeles, let's say, and you say to them, have you got any backyard bullion hand-poured silver? Have you got any fossil metals hand-poured silver or something like that? They're going to look at you blankly and go, what? Who? Whereas if you say, have you got any MK Bars poured silver or YPS, they're probably going to know who you're talking about. So branding is really important, and that plays a factor because as and when you might want to release your investment and sell it on, it's going to be more recognized, it's going to be more in demand. So, that is one thing to consider. Of course, on the flip side, if you're buying from people like me, the small YouTubers out there, the small producers out there, and then that person becomes a superstar, and of course that's my dream. I would love one day to be as big as MK Bars and my silver to hold as much premium as possible, like the MK Bars stuff does. That's then a really good thing. So you can, of course, buy your hand-pulled silver betting on the producer, betting on the manufacturer. And I think that's what I like to think is unique about my own branding, my own silver. I put so much energy and effort into every single piece that I make. These, for example, these 1 ounce bars, I've just poured them. They're just standard 1 ounce bars, but I wanted to make them look good. I wanted to make them look great because, as I said, my stuff has got a big premium on it because of the hallmarking, because of the taxes that we pay here in the UK. So I've antiqued them, I've stamped them all up with my branding, and I've antiqued them and polished them, and it takes a massive amount of time to clean these up and make them look as nice as they do. But I like to do that, and I want to put that extra time in. I think it's really important to do that, to make sure that when you pick up some of the Backyard Bullion hand-pulled silver, you really, really get a good piece that's hopefully going to hold its value over time. And then hopefully, one day, when things are massive for Backyard Bullion, you'll get some return on your investment. So in that sense, buying hand-pulled silver can be a really good bet. But of course, the flip side to that is there are so many different people out there. There are so many incredibly talented people out there. Of course there are. There's hundreds in just this community alone, let alone the bigger manufacturers that are out there as well. So it's very hard to pick who's going to be the next big thing, who's going to be the person out there that breaks out to be the next MK Bars. From my experience, it's not a very common thing to happen. So if you're going to be buying hand-pulled silver in bulk, it is going to be something that is risky, and of course those premiums are going to be things to look at in the future, and whether or not you're going to get them back. The next thing to talk about is one of the kind of untalked about negatives about hand-pulled silver, and that is that it's easy to fake it. It's easy to make plugged pieces, and what I mean by that is perhaps if you've got a piece of hand-pulled silver that's got a lead core in or something, and you've poured the silver around it. Now, or for example, you use a different alloy of silver. Perhaps you've used 925 silver to pour your pieces, and you've stamped it up 999 and sold it on. Now, here in the UK, we have hallmarking laws and legislation, and I've talked about hallmarking a number of times before, and I've talked about why I have to do it. But it's actually a really incredibly useful tool to protect you as the buyer for buying hand-poured silver. Because it's been hallmarked, it's guaranteed to be 999 silver. An independent assayer has looked at this bar, they've done their XRF on it, they've done their whatever Sigma metals testing machines they might have, they've also taken samples from other bars and they've tested the silver to make sure it's 999 silver. But not a lot of people do that. Certainly in the grand scheme of things throughout the world, hallmarking is not common. It's really only UK pourers. And for example, I don't legally have to hallmark bars. They theoretically don't need to be hallmarked, but 3D items like these need to be. Now, I have had a customer in the past who's actually sent me some poured silver that they bought off eBay because they wanted it melting down into something else because it didn't look very nice. When I got it, it was definitely not 999 silver. It was 900 at best, if even that. So it's really interesting that there are these people out there who are unscrupulous, who will make big bars, they'll plug them, and they'll basically scam people out of it. So there's a good chance that if you're buying en masse, if you're buying lots and lots of hand-pulled silver off perhaps eBay or something like that, that you might well end up with some fake silver or some not real silver in there. So of course that's a risk. Yes, it is. But you can of course get some hidden gems within there as well. There are a lot of people who don't necessarily know what hand-poured silver is, and if one of these items ended up being back on eBay from 20 years time, perhaps they wouldn't know exactly what it is. Who knows? You can pick up some right gems. So does that answer everybody's question? I don't really know. Is hand-poured silver a good buy? Well, it depends on why you're buying it. I think that is the ultimate thing. Is it a good investment? I'm probably going to give an overall answer of no, because it does hold quite a high premium when you buy it. It's not necessarily the most commonly bought thing in the silver market. And that in of itself is, I think, a really important thing to look at here in our final point. A lot of people out there really like hand pulled silver, but there's a lot of people who don't. And the mass market will probably not jump on hand pulled silver at a premium when you come to sell your investments. So you really should look at hand pulled silver as a kind of pleasurable purchase. It's something perhaps you shouldn't necessarily have as your foundation for your stack. It shouldn't be your complete whole weight of your stack. Perhaps if you have a small amount of hand pulled silver that you would enjoy, it might be a lot better for you to get out something out of at the other end. Certainly if you end up perhaps not getting your money back for your hand pulled silver, you might not be too bothered, because at the end of the day it's something nice that you like and you enjoy, and it sits there on your desk and you like it. I think that's something really important to consider when looking to purchase hand pulled silver. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the subject. I would of course love to know what your guys' opinions are. Certainly as a producer of hand pulled silver, I would love to know different opinions on this subject from the marketplace. So if you would like to comment down below, please do so respectfully, of course. I'm not here specifically to push the world of hand pulled silver, and I hope you've understood that I've presented both sides of the argument. Even concluding there that I really don't think that hand pulled silver is necessarily the best investment in the world. Hopefully, for the pieces that I make in the future, they'll end up being superstar investments, because I hope to continue producing and making hand pulled silver throughout the rest of my life even. It's just such an amazing hobby that I want to pursue and to grow and to make into something really special and amazing for all of you guys out there who have already purchased some of my silver. So if, as I said at the start of the video, you want to help that dream, help that brand grow, please do go over to my website and consider purchasing any of my hand pulled silver. Some of these pieces, as I have shown today, are over there, and there are many others as well. Otherwise, if you liked this video, if you liked the way I presented this argument, please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you didn't like the kind of nature of the argument, but you still like the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, because it really does help everything I do here on YouTube to share around through the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the alarm bell, because then you'll get a notification when I upload future videos. This coming weekend should be pretty epic for a massive, ridiculous, hunky-dory unboxing of 1,200 ounces of silver. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you want to see that video, or videos, because there's going to be a lot of them in the near future. Otherwise, all that I've got to say is I hope that you all have a fantastic week ahead. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure that you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.